pence deadline on right now, and it's about this track that's playing here. So I've got to get this done and sent off by my Sunday. I'll stop this playing for a second. Yeah, I've got to get this sent off and to a guy who I have hired to do some mix consulting with. Now, I've never done any form of training whatsoever to do with mixing stuff down. All I've done is mixed loads and loads of my own music and a fair amount of other people's too. So, I've never done a course. I have never done a tutorial. All I've done is actually do it. The only exceptions are a few months ago, I read 2 books. One was Zen and the Art of Mixing, I think it was called, and the other was the Bobby Oswinski something book. Yeah. So that's the only mix training that I've really done. Everything else has just been me doing it for 20 years or 17 years or whatever it was. And really what I want to do with this session is essentially he's going to, I'm going to send him the bounced out, in terms of when I say bounced out audio, but with the plugins, and I've got to use only the plugins that he's got. So that kind of complicates things as well. And I've got to get it as good as I possibly can so that he can see what my weaknesses are and where I'm going wrong and things like that. Now, the reason I'm doing this isn't because I want to do the final mix of all my music. My number one goal with it is to uncover where my blind spots are in terms of mixing, or maybe deaf spots would be a better way of putting it. And also actually to find out what maybe some quicker, simpler and less involved ways of sort of getting it to the point where I can send it to somebody to do all of the finishing bits, which I can't really do in this room and with the time that I have. So really what the reason that I'm paying him for this is, well, partly curiosity, but also in order to be able to do something that is taking me a fair amount of time, do that kind of quicker and more effectively. But what I've got to do is I've got to get this to him by the day after tomorrow, and I've just got an hour and a half now, and obviously I'm going to be live streaming, so I'm going to be talking to you folks, and then I've got tomorrow as well, but I've got a meeting in the morning, and I have to finish every day at 3:30 because I've got to do homeschooling stuff with the kids. So I'm under the pump a bit, because that wouldn't be so bad if I'd have nearly got there, but the problem is the problem is that no, they're meant to be they're not off, Ron. They're actually meant to be like that, but it's not mixed properly, so it probably sounds wrong. Yeah, the bass is meant to come like that. Anyway, so the problem is that I haven't actually finished the tune. so I'm under the pump, let's put it that way. So oh Hang on a minute. Let me demonstrate what I mean. And I've just been putting, the problem was that I recorded all this in 96 kilohertz, and because I can't send him a massively bloated file, I need to put it all into 44.1. So this is how it's meant to be, Ron. And it probably doesn't sound right because it's not mixed. It's meant to come in there just before the beat, rather than syncopation. Anyway, so what the problem I've got, essentially, I forgot this. Hang on, let's not want that. And by the way, if you have any questions at all, and the other thing I'm doing is I'm running this activity monitor because I want to see while I'm live streaming what's using what. Dropbox, why are you using so much? Wow. No, surely not. Alright, let's just actually quit Dropbox completely. Maybe that will help. Quit Dropbox. Yeah, the reason I'm doing this is just to see how what's using the CPU and might be affecting the live stream. Why is Dropbox still using? No, it can't be. Yeah, it must be delayed. Okay, there we go. Okay, that might be better. So, yeah, if you have any questions at all about anything I'm doing or anything that you're doing, or you have any difficulties with the music you're making, even though I'm under the pump and I'm on deadline, please feel free to ask a question. Okay, I think I might turn up, make this bigger. Appearance. Okay. There we go. Scale. Up we go. There we go. Okay. That is a good point though, Ron. You know, that's something I've got to watch with this track, is to make sure that it doesn't sound wrong. That syncopation doesn't sound wrong. Because obviously it does at the moment. So I'm just waiting for this. Unfortunately, I've got to keep flicking between these two because I'm trying to put these parts in. And I've got to see where they are. It's going to be very tricky. It's going to be very, very tricky. Let's turn you off too. With all of these windows. Quit. There we go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to move you over here. So the next part, so this is the actual original, the 96 original. And so I've got to get these parts in basically. But I think where are they? Here. What should I do? Let's get this in. Okay. Do I have that in there? Toy piano, I do. Okay. So this comes in at 125211. 125211. 125211. 125211. Everybody say it. 125211. Maybe someone can type that in the chat for me so I can remember it. No, what o'clock? Doesn't matter. 125211. So this bit is a bit dull, but we will get there. Okay. Yeah. Hello, Guri. 125211. There we go. Right. Let's see how that works. If that's working. Oh, it's all over the place, right? Those must be in the wrong place. I see. Oh dear. Hello, Louis. Hello, Rick. What am I going to do? Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to go like this. Oh. Hey, Juan. Okay, that's fine. That's in the right place at least. And we need all these pads. Oh, God, I might get rid of this piano because it keeps on having to load it up. Okay, Yuri, one question. Brilliant. As I said, please feel free to ask any questions you want. How do you recommend mixing regular splurging with 11-day challenges? As in, how frequently would you personally do 11-dayers? That's a slightly unusual question. Okay, so I wouldn't really. I mean, the 11-day challenge thing doesn't have to be 11 days. I don't really do myself. I don't really do 11-day challenges. What I do is I go on the number of splurges. So I do 100 splurge challenges. Okay, and I'll just reset that as well. And I do those once every quarter. However, that's not always the case. Sometimes I will do one just to kind of get myself out of my head, as well. All right. So now what am I doing? I know. I'll just copy all of these parts here. Actually, I've got to do this. Yeah. Let's just go the full VST route. Yeah. Okay. And just put these down here like this. Oh, I know I did wrong. Yeah, so the 11-day idea explosion program is a guided. It's like a program which guides you into that particular part of the automatic music machine. You know, the idea generation phase. So, I mean, the last 100 splurge challenge I did it in, I think it was 9 days, but I did that on 2 hours a day. So I was going really, really, really fast. Which isn't something that we always do. You know what I mean? Going fast isn't the only thing we do, if you like. But it is something that we can do to really kind of learn something about ourselves and our music. Okay. I think that's 65. Yeah, that's what I'll do. That's better. Okay, enough faffing. I'll go with this. 65. Oh, the automation data. No, I don't do that, YT. I don't do matching up beats with lyrics. I've got way too many other things on my plate. I am not your man, I'm afraid, for that. Okay. Good morning, Manuel. Right. Let's try and get these parts in. Now, the only problem with getting these parts in is that I'm almost sure that we're going to have some wibbles in terms of the... We're going to have some wibbles in terms of the processing power of this machine. but we'll just live with it, right? Okay, so that's that. Harp. 1 minute, what's going on here? No, it's not right. What am I meant to do? Oh, I'm just making you... No! Not that. So far, is it? Okay. I won't get into my shortcuts. It's been such a long time since I've had to work fast. Harp is in there. Please be in there. Please be in there. Please be in there. It's not. Oh, yawn. Okay. Let's do this instead. Okay. Another question from Juan while I'm doing this extremely dull work. Is it better to do one genre? Can I do multiple genres in relation to branding? Branding. The word strikes fear into every musician. First thing I would say is don't think about your music as branding. Okay, I know a lot of people say do that. Please don't. Okay. That's the very first thing. And anyway, in relation to marketing, yeah, if that's what you're talking about, it's actually a really unhelpful word. I know what people mean, so I'm not saying they're saying exactly the wrong word, but it's an unhelpful word because what ends up happening is you end up doing things that you see big brands doing. And if you are anything other than a big brand, doing what big brands do is a bad idea until you are a big brand. Okay? And you start thinking that certain things are more important than they might actually be. Okay? So what I prefer to say is something like marketing or something like that. Now, I believe that marketing needs to stay out of the studio unless you're writing marketing music. Okay, so just don't be thinking about it because you've got your focus all messed up. You're not only thinking about the result too much, you're over focusing on the result, which isn't helpful for the creative process. You're also I don't want to be answering phone calls right now. Sorry about this. When I leave. There you go. Just got do not disturb on now. Yeah. So yeah. You want to leave marketing out of the studio. It's just not, because you're focusing on the result, first of all, and you really want to focus on the process more than the result. Yeah. And the second thing is you start to mind read what you think people want or think of your music and the simple fact of the matter is that as the creator of the thing, you are actually, ironically and unfortunately, and it's one of the most difficult things about being a music producer, is that you are one of the people who is least able to judge your own music. Okay, so that's why I would leave that for all of those reasons, and there's probably more as well. I just don't think it leads to good music. I mean, I've tried it, and it certainly messed me up big time. Maybe other people are different, but for me, that's certainly what I felt about it. I don't know, and I think in some way it just doesn't. Let's just write music. Yeah, not just write music. You got to do the other stuff as well. So what I would tend to do is I would just write whatever music you want to write. Write absolutely loads of it. Yeah, and then when you have written it and you've got a bunch of stuff in your done folder, for instance. So going back to the automatic music machine. One minute. Something else. I'm making little videos out of these live streams, so I've got somebody on the team doing that. Anyway, which was what that board was about. So, when you've got a bunch of stuff in the done folder of whatever it is, then you can think about what you're calling branding and what I'm calling marketing. So you can start to think about, right, what thing, I mean, let's say you had 20 tracks or 20 songs or 20 pieces of music in your done folder and you had an EP to make, but 20 pieces of all kinds of different music. You would definitely, out of those 20 pieces, be able to make an EP that kind of hung together as a style, I'm sure, because you probably wouldn't have made it in 20 totally different genres. So that is the approach I would take, rather than thinking about, oh, is this that or this, because you'll be thinking about that all the way through, and you'll miss all of these great ideas. If you have something which is a great idea, but then it doesn't fit, we'll do a remix of it maybe, afterwards. So So what am I doing? I'm looking for the harp, and that means I've got to go to the other thing. So any other questions while I'm doing this very dull bit? I did intend to get this bit done before I got on the live stream, but as ever, everything took longer. Yeah, just make your art. Worry about that stuff later. And that's coming from somebody who's into marketing. Do you know what I mean? I've building this business. I've actually got into marketing. It's an interesting area, and you can learn a lot from it. It's like applied psychology is what marketing is. Oh, what am I doing? Where am I looking? No, not. There we go. Oh, there it is. Let's save this setting. Actually, turn you on. Cthulhu. Save channel strip setting as harp up. And if we've got any leapers in the current class of the leap watching, this track that I'm working on now actually came from one of the exercises that I did in the leap. I think there's even a demo of it in the leap of me starting this track, and it came out of a specific exercise that you're going to do fairly soon. There we go. Right. Great. I'm glad you needed to hear that one. Let's just make art for art's sake and then worry about what we're going to do about it later. I mean, that doesn't mean not worry about it. And that doesn't mean that I'm saying that marketing is evil or anything like that, because I don't think it is. I think we've got to do both, but we've got to separate them. Is that everything? I believe it might be. Let's just say that. So I know usually at this stage, oh great, I'm glad you can relax one. Being relaxed is good. Okay, so that's something I've got to do. So I've got to cut down the, so I recorded this in from the SH7 and I did it too often. So unfortunately, which is a bit of a ball ache to be honest, but anyway, unfortunately, I have to cut. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? Oh, I'm just going to have to do it manually. More boring work. Right. Quick. Yep. Yeah, so while I'm doing this, does anybody else have a question? Maybe about branding, genre, maybe about something else. Oh, another thing as well that I'm going to have to do about these live streams is that I was doing a YouTube thing. Doing something on YouTube, and they've got a new thing which shows you when the majority of people who watch you on YouTube are on YouTube, which is very handy actually. And it turns out that this time is literally like dong. The witching hour. There's like no one. It sort of says virtually none of the people who watch you are on YouTube at this time. So, and I'm doing these particular ones on these days at this time. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, just to make this work for me, is choose a different time. I mean, I will try and do one around this time every now and again, but I'm going to have to choose a different time because it's like one of those sort of business things where it's like I want to get the most bang for my buck because I'm spending a lot of time doing this. Obviously, I'm investing a lot of time into it, and it doesn't make sense to do it when no one's watching. Well, not no one. You're not no one, folks. You're very important to me. But you know what I mean. Relatively speaking, very few people are watching because they're all in bed probably. All right, let's see if that's all right. Valhalla. Let's have a look at activity monitor. Okay, so I need to see what I did in the original with this base because it comes in an unusual time. Just turn off that. You know, I do love contact. Take a long time. I tell you what though, what is funny is no, it's incredible how we get and start to expect everything to be mega fast. I remember the days when I used to have to run round the block 3 times and wait for everything to load up. It was like discs and oh dear. Just saving things took an hour. Oh dear. If you were lucky, if it actually worked. I remember the days. You don't know what you have these days, you young people. It is true to say that everything's a heck of a lot easier than it used to be. But you know, that's true of everything, I guess, isn't it? Right, so oh, I see. It's coming every 12 bars. You little devil Monday. Oh, 12 bars? That's really weird. Not 12 bars. 14 bars. Wow. Should I just hang it and just use this part, and I think what I'm going to do actually, I'm just going to use this part, bounce it out. That means I'm going to have to change this to 96. Oh, can you still hear me? Yes, I think you can. Yeah, Rick was saying that Rick was surprised that when he released mixed genre music, people didn't seem to care. I did different genres. They just listened to the tunes they liked. I mean, that is very much a modern thing, isn't it? With streaming, it's all about the track, which is, I mean, for an oldie, an old beep like me is unfortunate because I like the whole banana. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to bounce it out. Let's make it mono. There we go. I'm not doing as much kind of talking and messing around because I'm on deadline. So, okay, shape 7. 44. Hang on a minute. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. It's okay. So, the other thing about genre, which I've often found, and this is from getting sent lots of people's music and stuff like that, is that quite often people kind of go, "Oh, I've got all this music, and it's all so different, and it's all like, it all sounds like totally different," and then I listen to it, and I'm like, it doesn't sound as different as you think it does. And this is an example of how often our perception is very different from other people's. So you never know, what you think doesn't make any sense may well make more sense than you think you do. So don't over focus on that. Yeah. Don't worry too much. Come on. I mean, on the other hand though, Juan, you are talking to somebody who in my previous career had very little care for, I mean, people kind of knew my club stuff more than anything else, but if you listen to my album, the albums I made back then, they were all over the place. And not necessarily a good thing. I wouldn't say that I got that nailed. I mean, really, me coming back to music this time is partly, in a sense, me kind of almost like slaying that particular dragon. And I mean, that's why you see me using very specific sounds and like doing the same things in terms of the instrumentation and also the way that I'm writing the music. Yeah, it's kind of got a very specific instrumentation. The reason I'm doing that is in order to slay the dragon that I never slayed when I was in my previous career, the 17-year career, where I just did loads of everything. Yeah, I'm actually specifically trying to make my sound, which is doesn't live in just one genre. I want, my goal with my music making is to get to a point where I can make music in any genre, so to speak. So it could be sort of drum and bass or gabba or house, but it just sounds like me. Yeah. I mean, obviously, then it wouldn't really be those genres, but it would have elements of those genres. So that's what I'm doing now. That's kind of the thing that I've got my sights on. I mean, I don't know whether I'll succeed. But oh, you poor thing. One saying, yes, I've heard your album. I don't recommend it. So, and yeah, I mean, like the one I did that when I came back to making music, and I did it in a month. I mean, that's another example of me kind of being all over the place, but that was really because I was seeing what you could do these days with all of the tools. So, but now I've got my head around that, I'm really like, okay, let's do this. Let's do the thing I never managed to do the last time. But one of the things that's allowing me to do that is that there's no downside to me doing it. What was stopping me doing that before, and where I got messed up, was because the majority of the money I was making by that point in my career, didn't start off like that, but the recorded music industry just like came crumbling down, certainly in terms of independence, because physical products just, they were no longer, there weren't as many being sold, so the profit went down, so it became impossible, which meant that everything went on to touring. And what that meant for me was that in order to make, put food on my family's table and a roof over our heads, I had to get gigs. And those gigs were of a certain kind, which required a certain kind of music. And I was kind of over it. There we go. Back to 44.1. So I was kind of over the music that I felt I had to make. So I was in this kind of catch-22, which will, I think partly accounts for a lot of the rubbish that I made back then, because my heart wasn't in it. Not all of the rubbish I made. Some of the rubbish I made just because I'm a bit rubbish. Anyway, so let's get rid of that. I tell you what, it's really challenging to do this with all these screens. What I really, really need to do at some point is get a separate live streaming rig. Great. Well, it sounds like you're on track then, Juan. One saying, yes, I've done splurging for 3 years plus, and I feel that my sound has emerged, even if it's a different genre that I made. That's it. That's one of the things that splurging does, because you're making such a high volume, quantity of ideas that you kind of try, or you just do, otherwise you get bored. You try lots and lots and lots of things. Wait a minute, what's going on? Oh yeah, I didn't hide it. I found out about, by the way, for anybody who's a returning live stream audience member, I found out about my Stream Deck today. It's lucky, isn't it? So what happened was, it'll be in here, won't it? Yeah, what happened? Apparently, I got an email from our friends at Harvey Norman, and it's not coming till the 30th of May. So that was what the delay was all about. It is annoying. But, first world problem. Got to remember that. Yeah, okay, I'm glad I did that. I'll just deal with it. Okay. Yeah, totally. And you're on. I understand it. I'm not annoyed with anyone or anything. Fair enough. I'm sure they have more important things to worry about than Mike Monday's live Stream Deck. I'm just glad that they're able to keep doing it, really. Hats off. want to put it on there. I'm sure this part's going to be too loud. Oh, it's not doing anything. It's because it's coming out of line 3 and 4. Why on earth is that? There we go. Let's try again. Alright, needs to be a bit louder. Turn you up here. Okay, we need a bit of... Actually, no, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use that. What do I mean by embrace the deadline? I'm glad you asked. So, this is a little technique that I started to use. Okay, and in a sense, I don't recommend it, but in another sense, I do. Okay, so I found that I have spent quite a lot of my life getting really stressed out about deadlines. Yeah, kind of like, oh no, and beating myself up for weeks before because I'm not getting ahead. Yeah, and this deadline looms larger and larger and larger. So it's like, oh no, it's okay. I've got 3 weeks. Yeah, so that's all good. If I start tomorrow and just do a little bit each day, yeah, I know what I'll do. Great. I've got 3 weeks. If I start tomorrow and just do a little bit each day, I'll get there really, really easily, and it'll be no problem at all, and it'll be fantastic, and I won't have to get all stressed out, and that'll be just awesome. And then what invariably would happen, it would be the night before, and it'd be 3 hours before, and I'd be like, oh no, yeah. But what had happened was, yeah, for the whole 3 weeks, I'd be progressively going through pain because I wasn't doing anything. I'd always, oh no, I haven't done it. Oh no, I haven't done it. So not only did I have the actual crisis just before the deadline crisis. Yeah, at university we used to call it an essay crisis. Yeah, I didn't only did I have the deadline crisis, I had all of that pain beforehand because of that. So when I started this business, and you know, I had even more to do. I mean, you know, with 4 little boys and, you know, a business and just all of the thousands of things that I ended up doing. This just became ridiculous. It was like I was just constantly beating myself up about things. I was just like, hang on a minute, why don't I just not do it until it's until it's like just not worry about it. Just not even think about it. And then when it's time for deadline time, I'm just like, right. Woo. And when I did that, I found it much, much easier to get things done. Now, there is a caveat here. You have to, when you embrace the deadline, you have to make the deadline before the actual deadline, because everything always takes longer than you think. Yeah. So I actually have to get this thing off between you and me, but I'm just between you and me, but don't tell Mike Monday, okay? Right, I have to get this thing off on my Monday because he has to get it by the 10th, and because he's in America, which is his Sunday, yeah, that's my Monday, okay? But I'm thinking of it as my 10th. I'm just doing a little mental hack, so that is my deadline. That actually gives me a little bit of extra, but I'm not thinking about, remember, we're not telling Mike Monday, it's just between you and me, okay? So essentially, that's the only caveat, because you want to be careful, because if you do embrace the deadline too hard, then you end up just like destroying the deadline, and the deadline gets very angry with you and never talks to you again. Okay, just runs away. Goes, I hate you, Mike Monday. You violated me. It's embrace, not violate. We're not violating anything or anyone. Okay, so that's what I mean by embrace the deadline. Basically, just having the same experience, but just removing all of that, like beating yourself over the head with a stick, because you're not getting ahead. Yeah. So that's a little technique I learned, and it's just like a big weight off my shoulders. And actually what you do when you actually you embrace the deadline, you surrender to it, if you like, is that it kind of becomes a part of your thing. Yeah. And it actually becomes then, when you're not going, oh, I've really got to do this, I've really got to do it, I haven't done it. Actually what you end up doing is you end up working on that thing more anyway beforehand, because there's none of this like, oh. Yeah. So it has very positive benefits. So that's what I mean by embrace the deadline. Go on, embrace it. Surrender to it. Don't violate it. Okay. So coming back to the taputa, as they say. Clariphonic parallel equalizer. I think I'm just going to preset it first. Down here, where are they? Eddie! Hello, Eddie. I love hats, how about that? Just want a little bit of ass wiggle. No, it's not quite. Is it just about volume? Okay, that's better. Bring it over to the side a bit. I want to see if I can just get a bit of more of the old. Just have a listen to that. Hello. It's weird. Oh, I see. It's because I pressed stop. That's why. Is there a... Okay. There's a fair bit of bass end on that. Well, maybe not exactly bass end. But you know what I mean. What's this? I don't know what these things do. Yeah. I don't know why I'm doing this sort of sound. I need to be listening to it in context. That's better. Whoa! Sizzle! Sizzle! Whoa, that's loud. Okay, this is very strange. Why is everything decided to come... Oh. Screen sets, what are you doing? Alright, one more thing I need to do before I close this other thing down. Alright, so I'm gonna save this. How are you doing, Eddie? How is the music going? Eddie's one of the leapers. Alright. Let's get this. That's cute. That is one cute dog you've got there in your profile picture. Is that your dog? Right. Where's he gone? This. Did I get that? I should have got that, shouldn't I? No, maybe I didn't. Okay. So where do you start? 109. Okay. Am I going to risk it? Am I going to risk it and get rid of this? I am. I think I am. I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna do that. Oh, sorry. Oops. Awkward. It's Eddie's ex's dog. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, should I? Apologies. It's a horrible dog. No, I'm sure it wasn't. I'm gonna stop digging myself a hole here, Eddie. I hope you don't mind. Hey, Rich. Yeah, let's close that. Music is going good. Great. Change the subject. Phew. Oh, good. Right. Thank you. I don't think I want to say it. Don't be 96. What was it? 10. Does anyone remember the number that I said? It was the bar number, because I've forgotten. Anyone? I think it was 109. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Okay. Actually, there was something that came out of this, sorting this out, that I think might be useful to you. That I had a bit of a bing moment in my head this morning. I do splurge t-shirt ideas too as well. Oh, yeah, in fact, one of the ones that's being worked on right now is Embrace the Deadline. So there you go. Actually, to be fair, that t-shirt idea was my wife's, so I don't want to take credit. I mean, the phrase is mine, but she actually came up with a really good idea. So now it's at a really cool artist's in a really cool artist's hands. Never forget. Oh, well, that's not very nice, is it? For you not to be able to find it. There you are. I knew you were there somewhere. Yes, you will hear me using that noise a lot. And I'm not going to apologise for it. The other noise you will hear me using a lot is this one. See, it's amazing, isn't it? Really, really good sound, that. Yeah. Hello? Anybody there? By any chance? That's very unusual behaviour, Logic. What are you doing? Why aren't you playing this for me, you naughty, naughty, naughty DAW? I'm going to do this. Actually, I can put the comments over here. You can't see that I've got this comments thing, which is much more easy to read than the one that you can see. Why is Domini not playing? This is the eternal question. What am I missing? Let's just try to turn that off. Ah, that's what it is. Oh, plugin alliance and you saying I'm not authorized. That's what it is. Never mind, I won't use that anyway. Yeah. Oh. And I improvised this piano part, which I have to say I'm quite partial to, which I'll just play you now. Oh, 3 little boys say hello, Daddy. Hello. Hello. I'm guessing that the little boys in question are Harry, Charlie and Archie, because George is in bed. Why aren't you at school? Why aren't you working? Oh no, what have I done? Oh no, I think I've done it right. Have I? I can hear myself in the past. I can hear past Mike now saying those words. Okay. Now, hopefully this won't wibble on me. Oh. Oh, I wonder why. You can't hear the music. That's strange. Why can't you hear the music? Ah. For some reason this is turned onto here. Here we go. All my kids are laughing at me now. There we go. Alright, I'll play it again. They're was a funny noise earlier. There we go. Can you hear that now? Now you will understand. Now you've got now what you've got to do is you've got to remember what I was doing and listen and put those two things together, because then it will make sense. Okay. So here we go. See, now makes sense. So I just improvised this part over, so it's a bit of a mess, but you get the picture. Right, so that's the new piano part that you could hear that time, so it wasn't an incredibly embarrassing moment of me dancing to silence. Anyway, could be worse. I could have had no shirt on without knowing it, or like, I don't know, a bogey hanging out my nose or something. So actually, do I have a shirt on? Yeah, I do. Whew. I was lucky. So what I need to do now, and do you know what is absolutely very interesting about this is that now I've removed, if we look at the mixer, what do I do? Next one. There we go. So if we look at the mixer, it's very distracting actually, guys, upstairs. Can you just turn down the volume a little? Because I keep on hearing myself about like 30 seconds later. Just a bit. What am I doing? Yes. So here you will see that aside from that, and this isn't actually, I don't think that's meant to be on there. Right. But aside from that, I've only got 2 plugins on this, and actually compared to the version before, where there was loads of plugins everywhere, this actually sounds much better to me. Maybe it's because I'm terrible at mixing or something. I don't know. But this is like sounding open, and I mean, there are things that are too loud and too soft, but this is sounding so much better than it was before when I was struggling with everything. So yeah. Good morning, Georgie. And by the way, this isn't a splurge. I just want to be clear about this. I have not splurged this out. This is a track that I started. When did I start it? It was probably about a year ago. Was it? Oops. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So it was this time last year I started this. I think it was anyway. In fact, let's find out. That's a good plan. Why don't we find out? So I started this. We can find out from the automatic music machine. There we go. No, it wasn't it. It was. So it must have been the Leap 4. Yeah, the Leap 4. There you go. So I'm not the Leap 3. October the 15th. Oh no, that was from Draft to Done. No. Maybe I was right then. Hang on. Here we go. Maybe it was before that. So it's August the 28th. So that would have been the Leap 3. And we're now on the Leap 6. So I'm going to do 4 a year. So that's when I splurged it. Okay, so Juan has a question. Hello, Mike. So I have like 20 projects that I started, just like splurges, and I was wondering if I can treat them like splurges. What do you mean, treat them like splurges? Because really, what a splurge is starting a piece of music. So first of all, Juan, are you doing the leap or not? Can you answer that question? It doesn't matter if you're not, by the way. I'll answer your question either way, but I just want to know in what context we're talking. If we're talking in relation to the LEAP program, then I would say no, put them to one side for now. If you're talking more generally, yeah, if you just, for instance, if you're just on the Idea Explosion or, the Idea Explosion challenge, or you know about my, you know about the splurge, then it might be a different answer. So can you just let me know if this is in relation to the leap or not? And in the meantime, I'm just going to do a little bit of mixing. So I'll be waiting for you, Juan. And I don't know why I said your name like that. Please don't be offended. Happen if I just pan that over a bit. Now, by the way, you good internet people out there will not be able to hear my panning because it's a very boring story. I'm going to try and get the panning sorted, so you will hear these things in stereo. Okay, but at the moment you've got it in mono for various different extremely dull reasons, which I won't go into now. But it's just to do with me not having the right lead from the new thing that I bought, basically. So. That's better. So one of the things I'm hearing now is that harp part. I want to bring that forward without raising the... Yes, I understand that. You've had them for a couple of years, but you haven't messed with the projects, right? Can you please answer me the question? Are you doing the LEAP program? And it doesn't matter either way. I'll answer you either way. Oh, you are in the program. Good, right. Okay. So basically what you're asking me is, in the context of the program, can you use splurges that you've done in the past? Okay. So what I would suggest you do is don't do that until I say it's okay to do that. There is a point in the program when and I'll tell you how to do that. So in doing the program, just learn the automatic music machine system with new music, because it's a lot easier. Okay. One of the things about past music is you've got kind of associations and psychological connections, and sort of, it's like there's a certain baggage around it. So do it with new music the first time through, and then I will tell you how to bring in old music into the automatic music machine. So just put them to one side, put them in the sketchbook for now. Okay. And then bring that stuff in later. Okay. Absolutely. Clemens, what a great point. I found it helpful to keep in mind that what it wants to be, what the music wants to be, isn't necessarily what I want it to be. Absolutely. This is a huge, huge point. Write it on your forehead backwards so that every time you look in the mirror, you will remember it. right? What it wants to be is not necessarily what I want it to be. And if you want to make the best music you can, sometimes that means letting go of what you want it to be. In fact, very often. Okay? Certainly if you're talking about the kind of music where you're being, like artist type music. Yeah, rather than writing music to order. Great point, Clemens. Thank you for that. So, just talking about this heart part here. I've got 20 minutes left. So, I want to bring this forward, but I don't want to turn it up because I like where it's sitting. I think what I'm going to try doing is a bit of compression. The only problem being, I can't remember. I know he's got the Kush stuff, so I'm going to use one of these. Let's go for the AR. And it might seem weird. It might seem weird to be using a drum compression on a harp, but let's just see what happens. Okay, so that has made it louder. Just turn down the... Where's the output? Where are you? Output. Oh, hang on. What happened there? Oh, I see. In and out link. Clever. Mr. Cushman, you're a clever man, aren't you? Right, okay. Maybe I'll just turn that off. That's really clever. I like the way he's done that. Alright, okay, anyway. Okay. There we go. Let's just do that. What do you... so Eddie's asking, what's the thing? So if you're wondering what Eddie means by the thing, a lot of music... What is going on there? Oh. So we'll get rid of that. Oh, it's 9, 3 and 4 again. The old line 3 and 4 problem. Yeah, a lot of music, particularly electronic music, electronic kind of clubby type music, has a thing. Maybe this can be muted. Was that working? So yeah, so all of that was muted and it sounded really good. I remember that. Anyway, so a lot of music has, in fact, nearly all club music, and in fact almost any music really has a thing. And my definition of the thing, what a thing is, and this is, I mean, this is the best definition I've come up with so far, is it's the thing that people would miss the most when it's removed, the thing that they really want to come back. Okay. So, and the thing is kind of the point of the track in a kind of parts sense, right? Now, being clear on what the thing is in your track, I think, fairly early on is quite important, because it just saves you a lot of time and you know what you're supposed to be doing, right? And one things I've found with the people who I've been helping, so at first kind of really talked about this in any depth at my live event in Sydney in November. And what am I looking for? Square. Square. Oh, I know. Oh, it would be here. At my live event in Sydney, where there was like, I don't know, I think it was 8 of us or something, and they came and they made music, and we talked about the thing and the payoff moment. And basically, they were making music, and I was helping them make music. And a number of those people kind of went on and have done my mastermind since. And like with all of them, it's amazing how quickly their music has improved now that they get this kind of concept of the thing. And it's not, the thing isn't the only thing. There's also other bits to it too, like the payoff moment, things like that. But essentially, no. I think what I might actually do is just leave that stuff out because it sounded great there. I thought maybe I don't even need this. Maybe this is surplus to requirements as well. Anyway, so Eddie, with that whatchamacallit, definition in mind, what do you think the thing is in this track? So did you hear the compression has brought that harp forward without there being any more volume? Now these are going to be too loud, I'm sure of it, when they come in. Any ideas, Eddie? You said, is it the piano and sizzling hats? I don't think so. They're just like embellishments, really. Let's get this right. So these three kind of go together. And that's sounding right at the moment. So I've got a reference of these three parts. So why is that not working? Oh, it's because there's no output. Oh, that's too much bass on that. I'm going to check, see what's going on. Sorry about the lagginess. Maybe it's because I've got this on. Where are we? I kind of want to do high quality though. I'll have to sort that in the future. Okay. So, all right, I'll tell you what I think the thing is. No, not what I think the thing is, what the thing is. The thing in this track is this. That's the other bad thing about doing live streams at this time of day, is that the internet's much worse at this time of day over here. So it's this. Okay. And the reason that that is the thing is because here, just listen, and you probably won't hear it very well because I haven't balanced it out properly. Okay. So in the bit where it all builds up, this actually comes out. You can hear it kind of changes. Ooh. Okay, so here. Solo, come on. Yeah. Because I turn up the resonance on the SH7. And then it all kicks in here with the full. Yeah. And the other thing that makes it the thing, listen to what the piano is doing. In a second. So it's echoing the thing. In other words, it's pointing to the thing. Yeah, so the thing isn't actually the piano. The piano is just pointing to the thing, if you like. Yeah, but by the definition that I'm using, like, come on, guys, I made it up. Right, it's not the thing. Like, then if you think that's the thing, then you're not understanding the definition. The piano is pointing to the thing. This is also pointing to the thing. So the thing isn't always